cool with waiting another minute too, but whatever you think.
Welcome everybody. It's small group here, but then there are a lot of people who are viewing us, I know, online, and also will be recorded, so people will be picking this up later on too. Well, we're going to hear today about Bridging, which it's a local nonprofit that's the nation's largest furniture bank, and several of our members, Bob Grams is a longtime volunteer. And so is Chuck Steiner, whom we have here also as a longtime volunteer with the organization. It's a fascinating story. I met Joel about a year ago, I think it was in April, at the opening of their third facility, warehouse, showroom, which is in Plymouth. They have one also in Roseville and in Bloomington. Anyway, it's fascinating. It's a great story. It's a great organization. And I'm going to let Joel introduce himself, tell you all how he came to Bridging and the many hats that he wears within the organization, and also what this place is all about. But please give Joel a hand. A warm welcome to Plymouth. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for that warm welcome. I'm Joel, Community Engagement Coordinator. I won't say a whole lot about myself because I really would like to focus on what we're doing here at Bridging. But I've been with Bridging for 4.5 years already. It'll be pretty cool when I celebrate 5 years this summer in August. How I came to learn about Bridging was actually back in 2011. I spent 21 years in higher education, doing a lot of different things, but one of the cool things I got to do was teach a class called Global Citizenship, and that had a service learning requirement. And so from 2011 until 2016, about 3 or 4 times a year, basically every quarter, Bridging was one of my community partners, and so I would bring my class to Bridging. So I like to say I've been a friend of Bridging since 2011. I was part of that great resignation of 2021, where I was looking for a little bit of a career change after the chaos of COVID. And I was connected to some Bridging people already and was just kind of scrolling through that little thing called LinkedIn on social media, and they posted a job, and I gave it a thumbs up. And then I was like, you know what, I'm going to go back and look at that. And I threw my name in the hat thinking, we'll see what happens. 2 weeks later, I had an offer. And here I am now, 4.5 years later. So very grateful to work for a very well-respected, growing nonprofit. As Bryce mentioned, we are the largest furniture bank in the nation. If you're interested in the nationwide network of furniture banks, you can go to furniturebanks.org. It's a very loosely, there's really no association amongst all of each other. Everybody operates on a little bit of a different model, but I am proud to say that a lot of other furniture banks from around the country come here to Minnesota to learn about Bridging and what we've been doing for the last 39 years. So let's get into it. What we're doing, feel free. I feel like this is very informal. If you have questions, do not hesitate to interrupt me and ask me. So here we go. So our mission is pretty simple. We empower people to thrive in their homes by providing quality furniture and household goods for those pursuing housing stability. And I like how responsive Bridging is. We actually just changed this mission statement within the last 3 years. It used to mention the word homeless. It used to say, we're providing quality furniture and household goods to those coming out of homelessness. And the reality is that is only a part of the population that we serve. So we have updated that because, as we'll see as I get into some numbers, we're not just helping people who are coming out of homelessness and being unhoused, but we're helping a whole lot of other people in tough situations as well. So the story goes, Fran Heitzman got it all started back in 1987. He was serving as a custodian at Pax Christi Catholic Church out in Eden Prairie. Somebody came in with a crib and said, hey, do you have a use for this in the school nursery? And he was like, no, but I'll find a home for it. And so he was kind of inspired by this idea of there's people looking to get rid of stuff, and there's people that need stuff. Very simple concept. Hence, Bridging was born again back in 1987. We've grown quite substantially in the last 39 years, and even within the last 4 years that I have been with Bridging. A couple of numbers that illustrate that, and then I'll get into some more recent numbers. But from 1987 into the early 90s, when Bridging was still getting started, they were serving about 100 families a year, which is pretty remarkable. Right now, we have the capacity to serve 120 families a week. So think about that, 100 families a year to up to 120 families a week. We're operating at a pretty large scale. And as I'll mention here in a little bit, it's pretty awesome. Not only are we helping people, but we're also helping the environment by keeping perfectly good furniture and household goods out of the landfills and passing them on to people in need. As Bryce said, we have locations in Bloomington, Roseville, and Plymouth, just to give you an idea of the scale and scope. Bloomington, which we've had since 1997, is about 26,000 square feet. Our Roseville location, which I work out of primarily, is about 43,000 square feet, so significantly larger. And then our Plymouth location, which we just opened last year, is roughly 10,000 square feet, so a lot smaller than our other two facilities, but Plymouth is donation drop-off only. We are serving clients out of Bloomington and Roseville. Plymouth just gives us a presence in the Northwest Metro where we can get more donations in so that we can bring those down to Bloomington and Roseville and give that stuff away to our clients. So if you see that other powerful number, over 120,000 households since 1987. And that's a pretty big number. Whenever I'm out and about, I hear stories where somebody will just be like I'm wearing my Bridging jacket or something, and they're like, "You work for Bridging?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Thank you. Bridging," and I don't even know who they are, right? They're like, "Thank you, I got furniture from you 15 years ago," or something crazy like that. My daughter works full-time at the YMCA as a teacher's aide. Once her coworkers found out where her dad worked, her co-teacher said, "When I came from Guatemala 20 years ago, Bridging was there to furnish my home." So we hear all these stories over time of the impact that Bridging has made. Any questions so far? Awesome. Let's move forward. We're still running some numbers on 2025, but the reality is our 2025 numbers are very similar to what they were in 2024. This information is also on your Bridging at a Glance flyer. But in 2024, we served over 5,300 households. And I do know that number for 2025. We increased by a couple. We served 5,311 households last year. Of those, 42% are children under 17. So you look at the overall number of people that we are serving, over 14,000 individual people. So in terms of how do you furnish 14,000 people's situations, we need 15 semi-loads of furniture and household goods on a weekly basis. So because we are serving over 100 households a week, that means we need 300 sets of sheets per week, 300 sets of towels, 600 blankets on a weekly basis, 300 pillows on a weekly basis. In terms of what we provide, you get a basic household setup. We start with what we call Tier 1 items, which are the most basic things that anybody needs just to survive. So it's that bed. Bed's not complete without the sheets, the blanket, the pillow. You get a dresser, you get upholstered furniture, you get a kitchen table and chairs. Beyond that, we have nightstands and end tables and coffee tables and TV stands and bookcases and all that other type of random furniture, ironing boards, plant stands. We're giving away even all the way down to the pots and pans, the dishes, the silverware, the Tupperware, the bakeware, the cookie sheets, the muffin tins, even artwork, lamps, and small appliances. So again, you come in and you get to shop and have a full household setup, which is pretty amazing. Where do 100 plus families a week even come from? Top reasons for referral, and you have to be referred. We're currently working with over 200 agency partners and about 22 to 2,300 social workers and caseworkers that make a referral for clients. So you have to have that referral. They help people find secure housing. They make sure it's clean, safe, and secure. And then based on their need, they make an appointment for the client to come in to shop. As you see up here, 56% of the clients we serve report that they were unhoused or homeless the year before they came to bridging. And usually when people hear that, they think of people on the streets. And that is the case for a lot of our clients, but we are seeing more and more of the working poor. We're hearing stories of people living in their cars long term. A recent story I heard was a lady who said that she had been living in her car for 7 years. That still blows my mind when I say that out loud. But she's going to work trying to make ends meet, but the lack of affordable housing is a reality. We're hearing stories of people living in abandoned buildings, and people are couch surfing, going from friend to friend to family, and eventually run out of places to stay. And the reality is there's no dignity in having to live like that. So that's why we want to make sure people get connected with our agency partners, that they find housing, and then they can come in and pick out their stuff. So that's 56% of the clients we're serving. The other 44% is a mix of people who are facing an emergency situation. So you see some of these reasons listed up there. Immigration, refugee. If they have some mental health challenges and they maybe can't work or something. We're helping victims of domestic violence, those people that just had to leave their stuff behind so that they could get to safety. It's not listed on here, but we do also see some people who experience a fire. Right? Home burns to the ground, you lose everything, you got to start over. We're going to be there for you. And actually, this time of year is when those house fires are the most common because people are using space heaters, electric blankets, sometimes their stove or their oven to heat their spaces, candles, things like that. Generally speaking, though, and you see this powerful number up here, 85% of our clients have incomes less than $20,000. That's not very much money, is it? Does anybody know what the federal poverty level for a family of four is? Quiz time. The federal poverty level for a family of four is about $32,500. So our clients are even well below what's considered the federal poverty level. So we're just taking one thing off their plate by providing that basic household setup so that they can focus on their career, their education, their health, their family, whatever it is they need to focus on and not have to worry about sleeping on the floor or eating on the floor or sitting on the floor. We hear stories of people who feel hesitant to invite friends and family over because they don't have something as simple as a kitchen table and chairs, right? If you're going to host a family, you're generally gathering around the kitchen and a place to break bread and share a meal together or play cards or play a game. If you don't have a kitchen table and chairs, maybe you're not inviting friends or family over, so you're isolating yourself. So again, we want to get people those basic necessities that we all need just to live. So moving on, as I mentioned, we need 15 semi-loads a week of furniture and household goods, which translates to about 750 semi-loads a year. Valued at over $600 million. The average household is getting about $1,900 in thrift store value worth of stuff. Because again, we're providing that whole household setup. In the last couple of years, we've been giving away more new stuff than we had in the past. Like pillows, for example, generally about 80% right now are new. We have new dresser program. For example, I was at the University of St. Thomas on Wednesday, and their School of Engineering sponsored 75 dressers. So I brought 8 pallets of dressers to them, all the tools, everything they needed. The students and the faculty built the dressers, and then I brought them back, and the bridging clients had a brand new dresser to select from. So pretty cool. So we can't do it without our volunteers, so we're very grateful for the support of volunteers like Chuck and others, and really the general community, because over 4,000 people contribute to our mission, which is the equivalent of 33 full-time staff. We run pretty lean and mean. I'm only one of 40 staff at Bridging. So if you look at that volunteer number is almost doubling our labor efforts. So we're very grateful for the contributions that they are providing. So we commit to a dignified shopping experience at Bridging. And I use the word shopping, we use the word shopping, but we do not sell anything. Okay, it's pretty cool. Clients get to walk through one of our warehouses and select what they want. So what it looks like is 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 50 weeks out of the year. People are always like, oh, is there slow times, busy times? No, we're at full throttle all the time, right? So what it looks like at Bloomington and Roseville at 9 o'clock every morning, 5 days a week, 50 weeks out of the year, there's about 5 or 6 families or households that come in and shop. They're paired up with some shopping volunteers that help them to select their stuff, tell them what they're eligible to receive, and really just provide that dignified experience and a welcoming experience. Then that happens again at 10:30. There's another 5 or 6 households that come in both Bloomington and Roseville and pick out their stuff. Then in the afternoon, we shift gears. We get all that stuff loaded up to the truck. If they elected for delivery, that's when I'm welcoming faith communities, corporate organizations, school groups, maybe just groups of friends to come in and volunteer as a group. And then we could get ready for the next morning. We have to obviously keep the lights on, and I do like to get paid, right? So we do charge $80 for the appointment itself, and we do charge $230 for next day delivery for those clients. But as I mentioned, the average household's getting about $1,900 in thrift store value for that $310. And in 3/4 of the cases, the referring agency covers those fees for clients, so very few are paying out of their own pocket. And if expense is a challenge to them, we say, okay, forget the delivery. If you pay $80, you can get everything you need. Get help from a friend, bring your own vehicle, make multiple trips, or get a U-Haul or whatever it is, so that you can get your stuff for really only $80. So as I mentioned, we provide dignity of choice where people can pick out what they want. And then also what's very important to us is dignity through quality. Our founder was very adamant that we do not want to give people junk, right? And so we have a pretty thorough inspection process where we look through donations. We go staff and volunteers that work the donation door go through annual bed bug training, so we know what to look for on upholstered furniture and mattresses. I've learned more about bed bugs in the last 4 years than I ever knew in my life. They're very fascinating creatures, by the way. But we know what to look for, and then also we believe in this so much that we are proactive, and we contract with Adams Pest Control, who not only does that training, but they send Baxter, the bed bug sniffing beagle, to our warehouses, and Baxter does an inspection every month. So again, that just shows our commitment to quality. Also, when it comes to sheets, blankets, pillows, towels, all of those things, we commit to quality by inspecting those things. We look for rips, stains, tears, excessive pet hairs, odors, things like that. If it does not pass our quality standard, we do a couple of different things. If it's blankets, we're currently working with some pet shelters so that they can, some small farms to reuse those things. In the wintertime, we do have some people that work directly with encampments that will take maybe a blanket that has a stain. It's maybe not good enough for in-house, but maybe it's good for an extra layer around a tent or something like that. So we have some people that will come and give those people those blankets to encampments. We work directly with Goodwill on a fabric recycling program. So if sheets have stains or things like that, we recycle that fabric and get it down to the fiber level to recycle it. So that's our inspection process and our commitment to quality. So we also have an electrical shop and a wood shop. Because we need so much stuff, we have to make maybe some minor repairs. That's what Chuck does, right? You want to talk a little bit about the wood shop? Yeah.
Chuck, just let me get the microphone.
Putting Chuck on the spot here, but I did give him a heads up I would do that.
Yeah, I volunteer in the wood shop. The bridging is, for an old guy who's retired, it's an ideal place to volunteer because it is a organization that serves a variety of people. We serve people who need used furniture, who need a place to sit, who have an apartment, they need a place to sit. Also, people who are replacing furniture, and you're cleaning out grandma's house. What do you do with all of the furniture and the dishes and the sheets and the pillowcases that grandma had? Well, you give them to bridging. I don't know the actual pickup routine, but bridging will come in and clean out Grandma's house.
We'll get into that one next.
Okay.
Yeah.
And bring in the furniture that is no longer needed. And much of this stuff is nicked up. It's either a leg is broken on a chair, the dining room table is 15 feet long, and it is just unwieldy. We take that 15-foot long table and saw it in half. We make legs. We take the legs that are usable on the table, we put 2 new legs on the top, and we have 2 tables out of 1. So we get kind of creative. We like I said, we make tables, we repair. It's just a great place for an old guy to get together with like-minded people and play with power tools. So we repair things, we refinish things that get scratched. It's just a fun place to be. So I really enjoy it. I've done it for 6 years, I guess. But it's just a great place to be because everyone gets along. So anyway, I really like it. And it's very organized. I come in every Tuesday, Tuesday morning from 8 to noon. And that's it. It's great. It fits in your schedule. I love it. So that's my bit on bridging.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for sharing. It's not just for old guys, too, by the way.
But it is a good place.
It is a good place for old guys, or if you're retired. Our minimum age for volunteering is 14, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But yes, our average demographic, our largest demographic for volunteers is retired. So thanks for sharing that. So let's get into a little bit about what we take, how to donate. But first, I want to point out that we are saving over 15 million pounds a year from going into landfills, which I mentioned, which is pretty amazing. That number continues to increase. We are partnering more intentionally with Junk Masters, Junk Genius, College Hunk Movers, and these other organizations that are known as junk haulers. In fact, I toured somebody this week on Thursday, junk hauler down from Dundas. He got word of what we're doing. He brought a truck up, donated it. Somehow his card got passed on to me. I reached out and I was like, hey, let's get a partnership going here. You want to keep things out of landfills because otherwise you have to pay for it to go in a landfill. They have a little store. They're not selling stuff in their store. I'm like, bring it to us. Bring it to us. So I toured him, told him what we want, what we don't want. Hey, let's give these things to people in need. So this number continues to increase as we form those partnerships. Another example is yesterday, in addition to having our bed race for bridging, which you may have seen on the news, we are racing clean mattresses down Buck Hill as one of our biggest fundraisers. And then we also, at the same time, it's funny how those things work out, but we had a swap collection event with Hennepin County. And we are partnering more with cities and counties when they do those city and county-wide collection events. Because again, they are inspired by keeping things out of the waste stream. Let's pass it on to people in need. We're working with Second Chance Recycling, who will recycle those mattresses. We know they get 100 mattresses a day, and that 20 to 30% of those are good and clean. So we're working with them to set up a clean room. Let's get those 20 to 30% set off to the side so that we can get people a mattress. So where that stuff comes from, as you'll see up here, 70% comes from you, the community. People moving, you're downsizing, maybe you're changing your decor, maybe somebody passes away and you don't know what to do with their stuff. We will pass it on to people in need. That other 30% of the donations are coming from institutional and corporate donations. It's like I gave that example of the University of St. Thomas sponsoring a dresser build this week. We also work with a lot of hotels that'll reach out and be like, hey, we're going to get new blankets for everybody on the 5th floor. Do you want 500 blankets? Yes, we do, because we need 600 a week. So we'll partner with hotels. I was at the U of M last week in their reuse center. They're refreshing some of their res halls, so they have 3,000 blankets and 2,000 pillowcases and 34,000 sheets, which blew my mind. I don't have room for 34,000 sheets, but we're going to take a few of them. But those are the kinds of partnerships that we are forming so that we can get stuff in and give it to clients. Another example is last week wrapped up the annual Pillow Fight Challenge with our friends at Burnett Title and Coldwell Banker. Over the last decade, they have rounded up 80,000 pillows for us. And this year, they were at about 4,000 pillows alone. So we got to keep them on for a couple more years so we can get to 100,000 pillows at some point. But that's just an example of where some of the things are coming from. So 2 options for donation if you're wondering. And then I will refer you to the Donate Your Stuff sheet if you want to take a quick look at that and maybe see if you have any questions about that. But that's a list of what we take. And then on the back is how to get it to us. You can drop off at any one of our 3 locations during our open hours, no appointment necessary, and really we can handle large volumes. So don't hesitate to show up with a U-Haul. We can handle it. So there's that information. And then we do have a flat rate fee-based pickup service as well. So for a flat rate of $160, we'll come out and get that stuff out of your way. Again, it's a flat rate, so that could be for one thing, or you could fill up the whole truck for that same price. It's a really good value if you're just trying to move things along. Sometimes we hear stories of people who might have a garage sale or something like that. They'll go in together on the pickup, get it all in one garage, and then we'll come in and pick it up. So that can be scheduled online. But in terms of what we accept, it's just those basic things that everybody needs to make a house a home, everything that's on this list. If it's not on this list, like somebody's like, hey, I don't see a piano on your list, but my piano's really nice. Will you take it? I'm sorry. We don't have space for your piano, right? If it's on the list, if it's in good usable condition, we'll accept it. If it's not, we do have what we call our donor resource list. That's on our webpage. I update that every 6 months. It's due probably next month to redo it again. But that's a list of other nonprofits. It's about 4 pages of other nonprofits that might take things that we do not. So we won't take your piano, but Keys for Kids would be happy to take your piano. So we like to provide people with alternatives so that we can continue to keep things out of the waste stream and pass things on to people in need. Questions about this list? Yes?
Do items that are picked up from a household have to be outside the residence to pick up?
They do. They have to be curbside or in a...
Can you repeat the questions?
Yes, I will. Yep. So the question was, for the pickup service, do items have to be outside? Answer is yes. They have to be curbside or in a garage. If somebody is in like a senior living complex or an apartment or a condo, we usually have the donor coordinate with a facilities manager or a property manager. We do a pretty tight window. We're going to give you a call and be like, we're going to give you a 2-hour window. So then if we can get those things in a lobby or a common area for those 2 hours, then we can come in and get those things out of the way. Another alternative is getting the items into like an underground garage to a parking spot close to the door, as close to the door as possible. Again, if that's a challenge, somebody just physically can't get those things down, or for whatever reason, then I would say, and you can't get help to do that, hire a regular moving company. And then instruct them to deliver the items to us. As a nonprofit, we stopped doing in-home pickups during COVID time, and then we decided after COVID to maintain that because our insurance decreased. The reality is if you pay me $160 to pick up your dresser, I come in and my crew puts a hole through your sheetrock, now I got to pay $300 to fix your sheetrock. So for us, it's not a sustainable model, so that's why we do curbside or garage. But again, there are alternatives if that doesn't work for you. Great question. Other questions about what we take or don't take on here? Yeah.
Do you ever have people that take too long to decide? Like they have a 2.5-hour window? I just wondered how you handle that.
For shopping?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen. It actually happened Friday. There's a little bit of wiggle room, right? We want to make sure that we give people the time to pick out their stuff, but we also know there's other appointments and there's other things. So we're going to we're not going to rush them, but what we might do is our shoppers, they're usually working in teams of 2 or 3. We might have 1 or 2 peel off to get started packing their items so that one person can stay with them so that they can finish the shopping appointment and they can still get done on time. At some point, we do kind of have to cut it off, but we make it very clear, like, here's our time limit, here's what we have to get through, and the shoppers are very good at kind of just moving things right along. So usually the challenges we run into, and this happened this week too, is people arriving late because of weather or sick kids or flat tires or things like that, which we understand. We're going to do our best to work with you. So, yeah.
We used to refer our families to bridging, and one of the things they told us, this was a long time ago, that you could only use bridging once. Is that still true?
Yeah. Yeah. So the question was, you can only use bridging once. Is that true? Not anymore. The reality is bridging doesn't vet the clients. It's our agency partners that do. As long as you have a referral, we say you're welcome to come on in and pick out stuff. Each individual agency, however, might have their own limitations. Like some might say, well, we're going to pay for one appointment, but if you need help again, then you have to pay for the appointment on your own. One of the reasons bridging doesn't put that limit on is we understand the vicious cycle of poverty, right? Let's say somebody comes here as a refugee, they get help once. Maybe 3 years later, they're in an abusive situation and they had to leave that abusive situation and leave all their stuff. Okay, well, now they need help again. Fine, we'll help you again. Maybe they need a third help because they experienced a fire. For us, we don't judge. As long as you have that referral, you can come on in and get the help you need. Great question. Other questions? All right, so moving on. Ways to get involved. You can donate your time, like Chuck. We do have individual volunteer opportunities, minimum age of 14. So we have the wood shop, the electrical shop, good hands-on ways to get involved. We have sorting volunteers, and those are the volunteers that are opening up the boxes of donations and sorting through the dishes and the silverware and the housewares and all the miscellaneous stuff. I got to do that last week. We had 5 pallets that came from Loaves and Fishes, and I was sorting through some stuff. I'm like, oh, I can see why the sorter's like this. It's kind of a treasure hunt, right? You never know what fun stuff you're going to find in those boxes. So we have sorters. They're also the ones inspecting the sheets, the blankets, the pillows, putting those sets together. We have the shopping volunteers. And then we have general warehouse volunteers. So those are the people who are working the donation door, moving furniture around, maybe helping us load up the trucks, things like that. We have group volunteering, which I alluded to earlier, but that's our corporate faith-based organizations, schools, civic clubs like a Kiwanis Club or a Lions Club, something like that. Or I even have sometimes just groups of friends that want to get together and volunteer. So that could be groups of 5 up to 25 people that come in the afternoon and help us with sorting or general organization in the warehouse. We also have the sponsored dresser build event, which I mentioned with the University of St. Thomas. We can do that on-site, minimum of 10 dresser sponsorship, or we can do it off-site, up to hundreds of people. And that's pretty cool. Yeah?
Do you supply the materials for the dresser build?
Yep, so the question was, do we supply materials for dresser build? Absolutely. So we have dresser kits from Ashley Furniture, and then I have a cart with all the tools that you need to assemble them, directions, and all the equipment you need, for sure. Yep. And then another way to get involved is helping us with an essentials drive. An essentials drive is focusing on critical items that we need. Usually it's those blankets, towels, pillows, but we also do kitchen packs and cleaning kits. And a kitchen pack includes all the basic essentials that you need for a kitchen. So it's going to have a can opener, a vegetable peeler, a spatula, like a rubber turner, and some mixing spoons, things like that, maybe all bundled up in an oven mitt or something else. So a lot of organizations help us out with that as well. So many different ways to get involved. And when sometimes people be like, oh, I want to do a pillow drive, but I'm afraid I'm only going to be able to get a few pillows. And once somebody's like, oh, our drive only got 10 pillows, I'm like, that's 10 people that'll have pillows now. That's awesome, right? Like, I wouldn't have those 10 pillows if you didn't get them. So Really, no donation is too small. If we all put a little drop in the bucket, we fill the bucket together. So, thanks. Questions, thoughts? I got a little video here. Yeah.
Do you also take decorative pillows?
Do we take decorative pillows? We do not take throw pillows. They do slip through. It's been a contentious question over the last years when it comes to decorative pillows. Officially, we do not take throw pillows. Yeah, great. Other questions about what we take, don't take, getting involved? Anything generally you want to know about bridging? All right. Well, let's, I got a video here. Actually, I'm gonna read a story real quick. I forgot I had this. So we do Lives We Touch stories at Bridging, basically weekly. And then in our meetings, before we start off every meeting, we share what we call Lives We Touch. We are very mission focused and mission driven, and we always want to remind ourselves of why we do what we do. And so we get direct quotes from our clients, and we share those to remind us of those things. So here's direct quote, a story from Melissa, who shopped in fall of 2025. And this is what Melissa had to say. You all make a huge difference in people's lives. I felt seen and heard. We tend to disappear, to lose ourselves when we lose everything. People look down and judge. There's so much negativity, and you don't feel like a person, like you belong. Some can start to feel undeserving of nice things and a normal home setup. Bridging helps you feel like you matter. You become part of the world again. Bridging was part of that for me. From shopping to the delivery, being treated with respect and importance, you all give the person the opportunity to put their personality into making their home a special place. And that is huge. Thank you so very much. I've enclosed 2 pictures so you all can see the finished product. Bridging is a blessing. And then she had a few pictures of her home setup. One thing I've heard from people who have come through Bridging, if they've been unhoused, is when they're on the streets, they're treated as invisible. And it's not, the hardest part about being homeless is not having anything, being hungry and cold, but it's how people look right through you and don't see you as a human being anymore. And then once they get the housing, they're seen as a human being. And it's a disturbing dichotomy that we have when it comes to that. So it's awesome that we are able to provide a dignified experience and get people back on their feet again. Here's a few more stories.
I'd say bridging program is a lifeline. And it's more than just furniture.
It's a huge stepping stone for people.
Now that I have everything I need, I make meals again. I'm able to do all my hobbies again. Because this is no longer just an apartment. This is my home.
My house was empty. I didn't have any money to pay, so Bridging gave me this furniture for free. They show me love, which I was not expecting.
The volunteers and the staff, they treated you like family, like you needed some help and they were there when you needed them.
Bridging is serving people who are in some of the deepest times of crisis. New immigrants, unhoused, working parents who can't afford homes. What Bridging does, their motto is furnish homes with hope. I see it. I see the excited, light of hope in the clients when they leave here. It's just one of the most satisfying volunteer experiences.
I get probably about at least 20 calls a week of someone wanting a Bridging referral. Some of our clients could be someone that's, just coming out of the jail system or just coming out of treatment. And we've taken people shopping and the person's like, this is gonna be my first bed. It's amazing to get someone their place for the first time, and then how are we gonna furnish it? We immediately call Bridging.
The main group that we serve are refugees. We have a lot of Ukrainian clients. We help people get on their feet when they get here. We rely on donations, we rely on fundraising a lot. So in that sense, Bridging has become one of the most critical partners for us in resettlement in the Twin Cities.
So we have about 270 agency partners that make referrals to Bridging. We rely heavily on our agency partnerships to make sure that when clients show up, that the process is really smooth. So what they do is they screen for eligibility, which is pretty low threshold. Is somebody living in a place that's empty and they need furniture? And then they send them on over to us.
We're dealing with veterans who are either currently staying in shelters, they're staying in their vehicles. Sometimes our veterans are coming with the very bare minimum of the services, the clothes on your back, if you will. And when you move them into some place, it's not enough to just give them an apartment, 4 walls, a floor, etc. You need to make that place feel like a home. When it comes to the dishes, the dining room table set, etc., there's nothing that our state grants or federal grants will allow for as much bang for your buck as bridging. Nobody does this work better.
I served active duty in the U.S. Air Force from 1992 to 1996. I do suffer from PTSD. I did get a lot of counseling and I was doing a lot better. And so it was time for me to get out on my own. But I didn't have the things I needed to furnish a home. I was working with MACV, which is an organization that helps veterans, and they referred me to bridging. You went with a volunteer and you could walk up and down the aisles and pick and choose what you wanted, what was your style. They treated you just like anybody else, like you were shopping in a store.
For folks who are often stuck in systems that maybe don't get the dignity of choice or autonomy to choose what's going to be best for them, for someone to say, it just felt like shopping, I think that encompasses what bridging is trying to do.
I want people to know it's worth it to give. Your stuff, your money, your time is going to transform lives. You are going to be part of giving somebody else hope.
My company, we hire people with records. We believe in second chances for people coming out of prison. We believe people can change. My story intersects with bridging when I was released from prison back in 2004. I'll be honest with you, I was very humble about it. Maybe I thought, I don't want to ask for too much because maybe I don't deserve it. I did ask, and she was very encouraging. That alone just made me feel good, made me feel like a human being. I'm going to reach my goal, which is to be a good citizen, to be a good person, to help others. It gave me hope. I guess that's the big thing, hope.
There you go. Questions, thoughts? Yeah.
So what if you have a set of silverware, but you're missing a spoon?
Question, what if you have silverware and you're missing a spoon? We'll take it. Yeah, you could be missing 5 spoons too. That'd be all right. You could be missing 5 spoons and we'll still take it. Yeah. Yeah, we put parts and pieces together. Sometimes the sets don't always match, but it's okay. Yeah. Other thoughts, questions? So Fran Heitzman, the question was, how did we start? Fran Heitzman got it started back in 1987. So he was our founder. Yep. So the story I told at the beginning was he got a crib donation and kind of just was inspired by this idea, for sure. Which, ironically, we don't take cribs now, but that's how it started. Yeah. We do not take cribs or any baby stuff. Yeah. Yeah, another question?
You have a big operation, which costs a lot of money. Is either government grants or corporate grants or individual trusts, or how do you cover all the people that are working full-time?
Yeah, great question. How do we get our funding? We do not get any government grants directly. Definitely no federal grants. So we have been a little bit shielded from some of the recent things, which we're grateful for. The only way we get state money would be through like Hennepin County. If Hennepin County pays for the appointment for the client and the delivery fee, that's the only way we're getting money from the county. We are getting a decent amount of corporate grants. We are getting, basically, if you think of it as a couple pieces of a pie, a majority of it comes from the community, individuals, kind of like our in-kind donations coming from people like you, making financial contributions, giving away their estates, things like that. A good chunk of it comes from the corporate donations. A good chunk of it comes from civic clubs like those Lions clubs, Kiwanis clubs, Rotary clubs, and then the rest comes from just our fees for our pickup program, the shopping fee itself, and then the Roseville facility. Even though we occupy 43,000 square feet, we actually own the entire building, which is 70,000 square feet, and we rent out to a couple of other businesses. So that helps us generate a little bit of rental income. Fran was very adamant about not having a mortgage, so both our Bloomington buildings and Roseville buildings are paid off, so that helps us out. And Plymouth is just a 2.5-year lease for right now. We also, in terms of our trucks, we maintain a fleet of, call it of about a dozen trucks. A couple of those are paid for by corporate sponsors, like Ecolab sponsored our truck for Plymouth for the first couple of years. So we have a lot of good friends that help us out. Great question. Other questions? I think we're right at time. Look at that.
Appreciate his spirit, his energy, his focus, and his commitment. It's fantastic. Please give him a great hand.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And then next week, please come back. Several staff members of the Consumer Action Division of the Minnesota Attorney General's office are going to address phone and computer scamming, fraud and hacking, and particularly those activities that are focused on senior citizens. So that should be a very enlightening and a useful presentation next week. But thanks all for being here. Thanks again to Joel, and any questions, please go forth. I mentioned to him there would likely be some new volunteers after this presentation now. And we do have a lot of people online, I know, and who will be seeing this recorded. So again, thanks everybody.
Thank you.